Yo, what is happening, guys? Undisputed Vlogs here, and today we are back, and we're going to be doing a very rare thing on this channel. We're going to be predicting boxing fights. Last time I did this, I predicted KSI versus Logan. I think I predicted a couple of the undercards as well. Yeah, I predicted KSI would stop Logan in the 5th round, I think it was. It went the distance, KSI won regardless. Yeah, so we're going to be predicting, obviously, the Mike Tyson-Roy Jones Jr. Fight is tomorrow for Americans, but it's probably all ours Sunday morning. It's probably like 5 AM Sunday morning for us, but I'm going to still watch it regardless. But yeah, so we're going to be predicting Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. And remember, I'm not a boxing expert, bro. I'm a basketball guy. I love boxing as well. I watch a lot of boxing, but I'm not... Out of every sport, everybody has, like, if you like that sport, you have this sport, you know everything about it. I know a lot about boxing. I don't know it down to the detail because I know basketball down to the detail, not boxing. So if I get anything wrong, I apologize. But I know for the most part. But the first one we were going to talk about is Vidal versus Rashad, is it? Or Rashid? I think it's Rashid. I'm really shit at pronouncing names. But yeah, believe it or not, even though I can't pronounce his name, I actually like him as a UFC fighter. Believe it or not. But yeah, no, I've seen a couple of his UFC fights. But yeah, obviously Vidal pulled out of the fight. Sad times. So they won't be fighting, and somebody's filling in Vidal's place to fight Rashad, but we're not going to be predicting that because I don't know enough about the opponent that Rashad's going to be fighting. So we're not going to be predicting that, but what I'm going to go over is when Vidal was going to fight him, my quick prediction was, to get it out of the way, what I thought it was going to be. We're not going to get into too much detail because it's obviously not going to happen, but I thought it was going to be a good fight. I thought it was going to be a good entertaining fight. I thought it was going to go the distance, and I thought Vidal was going to win. I don't know how many rounds there is. I'm going to say 6 off the top of my head. Say there were 6. I was going to count Vidal winning 4 to 5 rounds. I'm not saying he would win there. I think he'd win like 1 or 2 rounds by a great distance. And all the rest would be close. And I think Rashad's one would have been like not really, really close that he edged it. But he would have like gotten a bit ahead. So I think it would have been a close fight. But Vidal would have won by... not even like a tiny bit, but like just a bit. Not loads though. I just think that he would have won because at the end of the day, you know, Rashad's a UFC fighter. He's not a boxer. He's a good boxer, I assume, because it's still combat sport. But he's a UFC fighter. If him and Vidal got in the octagon, you know, he would beat Vidal simply because Vidal's not a UFC fighter. Just like when he gets in the boxing ring, Vidal has been training all his life. He's had 4 professional fights, I think it is. God knows how many amateur fights. He's been doing boxing his whole life. It's just like when you go into somebody's sport, it's like a football player. It's like, put it simply, Ronaldo going to play basketball against LeBron. LeBron's going to destroy him. LeBron going to play football against Ronaldo. Ronaldo's going to destroy him, you know what I mean? It's just you're stepping into a sport against somebody who's been doing that sport for a long time. So if you can somehow pull off the win, well done, fair play. But yeah, I definitely think Vidal was going to win. Definitely think it was going to be a close fight. Would have went the distance. Vidal, if there were 6 rounds, would have won 4 to 2, 5 to 1. But yeah, it was definitely going to be a close fight. Could not see a knockout in that one. I could see possibly chances where there was possibly near enough a TKO. Vidal almost TKOing him. But I think it would have been just Rashad just taking the punches. Like a lot of boxers do, taking the punches and just building up the anger to fight back. I don't think it would have been because he was on the ropes. But yeah, so that was my prediction for that, but that ain't happening, sadly. Like, of course, Vidal had to put it out because of his back injury. I'm annoyed because I did want to see Vidal fight. I love watching Vidal fight. Like, he's going to be definitely a future world champion one day. I love Vidal, but his health is more important than anything, so he needs to pull out. I'd rather him pull out and look after his health and come back and fight rather than just fight with the back problem, possibly lose the fight and then hurt the back even more and either be out for ages or possibly even hurt it to the point where he actually can't box the same again, because that can happen. So I mean, it's better that, you know, your health is more important than anything, especially when it comes to sports, because when it comes to sports, you need to be healthy to a certain degree, no matter what sport it is, and you need to not be injured. You know, it's not like a job where you can be injured and you just have to walk about. Like, these guys have to run, they have to, like, move, they have to work out every single day, and, like, train hard for a fight, or train hard for a finals game or whatever. So, I mean, his health's more important than anything, so it's a good thing he pulled out. But he did say he'll fight the winner of the fight, which is good, so I respect that, because he's not running from them. You know, he said, I'm not running from them, or I'll fight the winner of the fight, and I think that's fair. So I can't wait for that. But moving on to Jake Paul versus Nate Robinson. You don't know Jake Paul is a YouTuber. You don't know Nate Robinson is a retired NBA basketball player. Now, I've seen a lot of the Jake Paul sparring footage already. Well, actually, no, not a lot of it. I'd say some of it. I've seen some of it. I haven't actually seen any sparring footage from Nate Robinson. I've only seen him on pads. But what I'm going to do is Jake Paul on the pads. I'll just give him a quick breakdown. Jake Paul on the pads. Very fast. He's very fast, has a lot of power. Good combos. That's one thing that his brother Logan just did not have. He didn't throw combos. Jake can throw combos. Nate, fast, strong. I mean, he's an athlete. So, I mean, it's going to be an interesting fight. I do have my thoughts on who I want to win and who I think's going to win already. But I don't have, like, an actual prediction of how it's going to go. So I'll watch the footage and then I'll break it down at the end. And then we'll see where we are there. Because who knows? I may change my mind after watching this. But we're only going to watch over a couple clips here. I just want to see Jake Paul on the pod. Says my guy Jake Paul getting razor sharp. So, let's see it. This is what I mean. He's fast. He hits hard. He throws nice combos. Look at that. He's a good right hand. Holy shit. Good. Okay. Yeah, so I've already seen a lot of Jake on the pads. Like I said, good speed, good power. He's very explosive. He's working hard, you can tell. That's one thing you gotta give to him, whether you like Jake or not. You know, you gotta give it to him. He's a hard worker. He's good. He's talented at boxing. My only problem is when he fought Gib, he didn't get to show his full potential, so I don't know how good he actually is. And you're not going to know how good he is until you put somebody in front of him who's an actual test. And no offense to Gib. Love Gib, love his content, but I mean, at the end of the day, you know, Nate Robinson is a professional athlete. Gib is a YouTuber, you know what I mean? Gib will, I'm sure he'd say it himself. He goes, no, I'm a YouTube boxer. He's not a professional athlete, you know what I mean? So, it's going to be different with Nate. Although Jake has the height advantage over Nate, he has the reach. Don't know about the speed, actually. The power, Jake can hit hard, but Nate Robinson was always known for being small and like buff as shit. So I don't fucking know, to be honest, because at the end of the day, your muscle doesn't always show how hard you could hit. It's all about the connection. If you're a big guy, but you have no, like, if you don't twist your hip, like, say you're massive, but you punch and you don't twist your hip into it, you go like that, you don't twist your hip into it, it ain't gonna land properly and it ain't gonna be that effective. Where somebody who is like half your muscle, twists their hip into it, gets the right connection at the right angle, it's gonna knock somebody out before you do, you know what I mean? It ain't all about muscle. That obviously falls into it, but it ain't all about muscle, so I don't know. But there's Jake Paul sparring footage where he apparently knocked his sparring partner out. So we're going to watch that because I actually haven't seen this. Okay. I've seen this one. Okay. I mean, Jake's footwork wasn't good there, but holy fuck. Very true. All I want to know is the people that Jake's knocking out there, do they actually have experience in boxing? Like, I don't mean they've boxed a couple amateur fights. I mean, like, do they have experience in boxing? You know what I mean? If you box a couple amateur fights, you know, still fair play to you because you boxed amateur. But, like, do they have proper, like, have they ever fought professionally? Do they have loads of amateur fights on their belt? Who trained them? Like, is he fighting proper people? I don't know. Regardless, you know, if he's going through people like that, it's impressive. But, like, if it's a bunch of people who don't know how to box, you know what I mean? It doesn't really mean anything because anybody could do it. But I do think that they are properly trained because I don't feel like... I think Jake Paul, knowing him, he would say, like, I don't want the easy ones. That's not going to help because Jake does not want to lose. Like, Jake's one of those people, everybody loses. And Jake Paul will lose one day. Whether it's a boxing match... He's taken many L's before, but if it's a boxing match, when he does lose, because he will, when he does lose, he's not going to know how to handle it, to be honest, because he's so determined to win. So, then there's Nate Robinson boxing footage. This is the pads, that's what I'm talking about, right? Although I think this was quite early in the training camp for Nate.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. I want to see. I can't find any sparring footage of Nate Robinson. I don't know if he's sparred or not. Okay. What I've seen Nate working on, from my point of perspective, it looks like they're teaching him the fundamentals for anything. Jake's team seem to be throwing him in like the deep end, sparring and shit, all this intense, but that's because Jake's boxed before. Nate Robinson's only starting. That's also another thing. Jake has experience within boxing over Nate, because of this, but I think this is very early, but they're starting with the fundamentals. But by what I've seen, Nate Robinson, he's got speed as well, he's got power. But I don't know, see, I'm looking here, I'm like, is Nate intentionally not sparring people and uploading it because he doesn't want Jake to know how he fights? Or is it because they haven't been successful spars where Nate's actually done a lot? That's what I want to know. Is it because Nate's not doing that much? Or is it because, you know, like, he doesn't want Jake to know his game plan or whatever, or, like, know how he fights, which is understandable. But surely they're getting him to spar. Surely. You have to spar before a fight. There's no way. But, yeah. So, my final predictions and thoughts. Who do I want to win? Nate Robinson. A lot of people I know is going to be like, oh, you're only cheering for Nate Robinson because you dislike Jake Paul. That's not the case. Am I a fan of Jake Paul? No. There's a lot of shit he does I just disagree with. But I'm cheering for Nate Robinson for the simple fact of, I stated earlier, I'm a basketball player. Like, I'm a basketball guy. I play basketball. I watch basketball. It's my favorite thing. Obviously, I'm cheering for Nate Robinson because I was a fan of Nate Robinson before I even knew who the fuck Jake Paul was. So, I'm obviously going to cheer for Nate Robinson. Now, my actual predictions. Who do I think is going to win? I do think Jake Paul will win. I'm going to put it simply. I do think Jake will win. He has the height, the power, his height, reach, his experience. Nate Robinson has power, but Jake also has power. You know, they both have speed. But it's just the fact of, I haven't seen Jake's full potential, but Jake is like, he's a hard worker, and by what I've seen, I don't think Jake's showing his best footage, and I'm going to be honest there. He's also out for redemption, because Jake knows if he loses to Nate Robinson here, KSI is just going to go, yeah, I'm not fighting you, you lost to Nate, fuck you. I know KSI will do that. So, Jake needs to win this, because KSI said if he beats Nate, yeah, I'll fight him. So it's as simple as, Jake needs to do this because he really wants to fight KSI to beat him for beating Logan. Because if Jake loses, he's like the only one standing tall in the Paul family right now. Like, Logan still has his podcast, his vlogs, but like, if Jake takes a massive L, that means they've both taken massive L's, which means everybody's going to take the piss out of both of them, you know what I mean? But yeah, I do think Jake will win. I don't know how many rounds are in these fights, that's the only problem. I'm just gonna assume 6. I'm gonna call Jake winning by TKO, not proper knockout, but by TKO. I'm going to call he's gonna win by TKO in late 3rd, early 4th. I can see it happening. I just feel that because Nate's gonna have to get in and try and brawl him because he's smaller, and I think he will do that. I think he'll do that in the first round because I think Jake will take time to analyse him. I think he'll do that like Gib did for the first couple of seconds. Gib got in close and he hurt Jake, and that's whenever you saw Jake, he's like, right, I can't let him get close because Gib hit him a few times and Jake was like, oh shit. I think Nate will get in. First round, I think Jake will like lay back a bit and just box off of the back foot and just let Nate do his thing. He'll break down Nate's game plan. Like, he obviously knows he's going to come in, but he'll break down like his fighting style. Does he lead like with the jab? What's his head moving like? What's his footwork like? After he throws this punch, where's his head? Where's the opening to hit him across the jaw? I think Jake will study this. Obviously Nate will study this as well. But Jake being the bigger fighter, he has the advantage to study this because Jake doesn't have to push Nate. He can just keep him at a distance because he's taller. Where Nate, because he's smaller, he has to push Jake, and that's just how it is. Because it's not like Jake can come up to him and Nate can just box him back and just be like, yeah, I'm just going to keep you back there. That's not going to happen. You know what I mean? That's just not going to happen unless the guy taller is completely terrified, which we know Jake ain't. So, I definitely think that's how it's going to go. I think Nate will start off strong, but then I think Jake will start picking his shots. I'm not gonna lie, I honestly think he's gonna go for a couple body shots in it, and I don't think it's gonna work. I think he'll go for a couple body shots in it, and it's not gonna work, and then he'll have to find Nate's head. That's what I'm gonna assume. But I do think there will be a point. Nate will want to go head to head with Jake, like just stand there and throw powerful shots. That's what Nate wants to do, because Nate knows he can take a beating, I think it is, and like he wants to go head to head with him and just overpower Jake. Jake will, if he's smart, will not do that and will box, like I said, on the back foot because that's what he's good at, it seems to be, and he'll box at a distance because he's a taller fighter with more reach. So that's what I think Jake will do. I think Jake will keep a distance. He'll let Nate do his thing. He'll break down Nate. He'll try the body. It won't work, and then he'll try to find his head. And I think it will literally end where Jake stalks down Nate and he's unloading on him. And I don't even think it's the fact that Nate will be done, because it won't be a knockout. I think it will just be the fact that Jake is just going for it and Nate is just not throwing back. But it's not the fact he's injured, like really badly injured. It's just the fact he's waiting for the perfect time. But I think the fight will be stopped in the 5th by TKO, Jake Paul winning. I hope I'm wrong, because like I said, I'm cheering for Nate Robinson. I will be so happy if Nate Robinson wins. Doesn't matter. I'm not even going, oh, I hope Jake Paul loses. I just hope Nate Robinson wins because I like Nate Robinson, you know what I mean? So yeah, I hope Nate wins, but I think Jake's going to win. Jake TKO in the 5th round. Hopefully I'm wrong. I don't even know how many rounds there are, but I'm going to assume if there's 6 or more, I'm still calling 5th round. But yeah, hopefully it is not a 1 round. For all we know, you know, Nate could come out and knock Jake out in the 1st round, but who knows? But yeah, so that was my fight prediction for that. Now, Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. Now, this is like 50-50. A lot of people are excited for this. A lot of people are cheering for Mike Tyson. A lot of people are cheering for Roy Jones Jr. I know more of Mike Tyson. I've watched Roy Jones Jr. Very good boxer in his prime. I was actually watching him the other day. Actually, I was watching this like compilation of like the 10 uppercuts that shocked the world or something, and Roy Jones Jr. was in. I started watching some of his highlights. Very good in his prime. I've seen him before, but I was watching him proper yesterday. Very good. Mike Tyson, obviously, very fucking good in his prime. But that doesn't matter anymore, because neither of them are in their prime anymore. They're both like, are they both in like their 50s? Late 40s, early 50s. They're both in their 50s, I'll say. So it doesn't matter what they're like in their prime. It matters what they're like now. And that's the question. Are they going to Are they going? I've seen training. They both, for 50, I'll give it to them. For 50, they both look in very good shape. Like I'm 20, coming 21, so I should be I should be fit. But Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. could probably outwork me still at 50. Like, usually you'd think, oh, they're older now. In their prime, 100%. You think because they're older now that they would slow down faster, but they could probably still outwork me, and I'm young and healthy, and they could probably still outrun me. I'll probably run, and then I'll get tired before they would, just because they had such a long period of time where they did that professionally, and their mindset, it's kind of like a switch in their mind. They hit that switch in their mind, and it's all of a sudden like, yeah, I can't get tired. Where me, I'm young, I'm obviously fit because I play basketball, I play different sports, but at the same time, I don't have that switch because I'm not a professional, and I never will be. So it's kind of just like, yeah, like for 50, they could outwork a lot of young guys nowadays. It seems to be. Some of them, of course, not, but they could outwork a lot of young guys by what I've seen. And you gotta fucking take your hat off to it, or your bandana off to it, and respect it. It's crazy. But we're gonna look at some of the footage. Where is it? Okay. So we're gonna look at Mike Tyson first. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna look at Mike Tyson first. It's a scary man. Scary man in his prime, scary man in his 50s, so it don't matter. Right, will you go away with your ads, mate? Right, there we go. I don't care for your ads. Okay, there we go. Here's Mike Tyson. That is a scary man. No, I'm sorry, I gotta pause it there. Like, that is terrifying. Like, that's actually terrifying. The fact he's that age, and he's moving that fast, he's hitting that hard. Like, not only was he hitting hard there, because he's still a big guy, did you see the speed he was moving at, and the viciousness? Like, you could see in his face, like, he's fighting as old Mike Tyson. His mentality is young Mike Tyson. His mentality is, I'm going to hurt you, because I want to. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. That's literally what he's going to do here. And it is actually terrifying. Legit, it is terrifying. Like, that's crazy. Even the guy wearing the body padding looks terrified. And he's wearing padding. And, like, he's not even getting hit in the head. And he looks terrified. Yeah. We're gonna react to Roy Jones Jr. sparring, because I actually haven't seen too much of his sparring, because I don't think he's been as public about it, or at least it hasn't been posted on my YouTube feed. Everywhere it's been Jake versus Nate training, and Mike Tyson. I saw bits of Roy Jones Jr. I don't know if it's because he hasn't posted much, or I just haven't got it on my feed, but we're gonna react to Roy Jones Jr. sparring. I already have who I think's gonna win, who I want to win, how it's gonna go down. But maybe Roy Jones Jr., after watching it, will change my fight prediction. You know, maybe he won't be as good as I think. Or maybe he'll be better. Who knows? But we're going to look at his footage, and then I'm going to actually see what I think then. At the end of the day, I'm going to give my opinion on both of them, and then I'm going to give it the final prediction of what it is. So now we're going to be looking at Roy Jones Jr. sparring footage, and we're gonna see. We're gonna see. how he matches up to Mike Tyson. That's what we're going to do. So without further ado, let's get it. Okay, he's got speed. But I want to see him spar, though. That's what I want to see. I want to see him spar. He's fast, I'll give him that. But I want to see him spar. Let's skip in. Oh, there we go. And he's in the ring now. Well, he's doing the pads in the ring. Not even so, not spar. I meant to say I want to see him do the pads with Mike Tyson. Oh my god, he's fast. Okay, he's very relaxed when he's doing the padding. Oh, here's sparring. Alright. Okay. Good movement. Alright, so, like I said, I couldn't find much of Roy Jones Jr. Couldn't find much to base it off, if I'm being perfectly honest. So we're just going to have to go off of that. He's definitely not, he's not as aggressive as Mike Tyson is on the pads, but that's because Mike Tyson is one sick motherfucker. That's why. Yeah, so after watching that, my opinion still has not changed. Who I want to win, I want Mike Tyson to win. Although I'm not bothered by who wins, because I like the both of them. I'm more of a fan of Mike Tyson. I just don't want fucking Roy Jones Jr. to get hurt, to be honest. Or Mike Tyson, because they are obviously older. But I think, in my opinion, who I want to win, Mike Tyson. Who I think's going to win, Mike Tyson. Now, I was thinking to myself, when this first got announced, because they're older, I'm like, oh, it'll probably... it'll go the distance, because it won't be loads and loads and loads of rounds, so it'll go the distance. But after watching that, Mike Tyson is fighting like he was in his prime. And the scary thing is, it's just as intimidating. Like, it's no less intimidating. So I'm still sticking with Mike Tyson to win. And I really do mean, like, I think Mike Tyson will he knock him out or TKO him? That's what I'm going to say. I don't know what, I think he'll TKO him. I think Mike Tyson will win TKO against Roy Jones Jr. in late second, early third. And the reason I'm going to say that, I think it's going to be a TKO. With the way Mike Tyson's throwing, I think he could definitely knock Roy Jones Jr. out. Roy Jones Jr. could also knock Mike Tyson out, to be honest, if he landed correctly. But I think that Mike Tyson is going to, like, get Roy Jones in a corner and just unleash and just unload on him and just throw hella punches and hit him and hit him and hit him. And I think the ref is just going to get to the point, because obviously these guys are like 50 years old. They're not young anymore. They're not in their prime. They're obviously still in great shape, but they're more prone to serious injuries. If they get hit in the head, it'll damage them more than they would have in their prime, because obviously, like, they're slower now and all. They have a lot more risk for injuries now than they would have in their prime. So I think the ref will stop it so Roy Jones Jr. does not get too hurt. But I'm not saying it's going to be an easy fight. I think it will be a competitive fight. Do you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to change it. 4th round. Mid 4th round, late 4th round. I think it will be a competitive fight. The only thing is, I do think Roy Jones Jr. will give Mike Tyson a good fight. The only reason I'm saying I do think Mike Tyson will win is because he's so aggressive that he's just going to go in there. I think Roy Jones Jr., like, it's an exhibition match, that's the thing, right? It's an exhibition match. Roy Jones Jr. is training for an exhibition match. Mike Tyson's trainer said himself, he goes, Mike ain't training for an exhibition, he's training for a fight. So Jones is going there to just box, put on a show, get paid, have fun. you know, beat Mike Tyson. That's it. Mike Tyson is going there to beat Jones, and that's it. Knock him out. Like, that's all he's going there. He wants to stop him. And that's just like the difference. Mike Tyson just wants to hurt him. But yeah, no, I think it'll stop in the fourth. Like I said, I hope the referee, I swear to God, the referee better be on it, because these aren't young guys, you know, they're not, if they get injured, they don't have time to recover, you know, they're a lot more prone to serious damage and injuries now, because they're older, you know what I mean? Like, if you get hit in the body whenever you're young, you know, you can usually prone to more work, because now you're older, even if you have muscle, you know, it's gonna affect you more, if you get what I mean. So it's like, the ref better be on it like that as soon as something happens, so none of them get severely hurt, because I want to see a good fight. I don't know. No, I'm not even going to say I'm cheering for Mike Tyson. I think Mike Tyson's going to win. I just want to see a good fight. Whoever wins, I don't mind. Whoever wins, I don't mind. But I just don't want any of them to get hurt, and that's simple. Because they're older, I just don't want any of them to get severely hurt. But I do think Mike Tyson's going to win. I'll say fourth round. I changed it by TKO. He's going to be unleashing, and the ref's going to jump in to protect Roy Jones. But I'm not saying that it is going to be an all-time Mike Tyson fight. I'm definitely saying Roy Jones Jr. will give him a run for his money. And I think after it, after the fight, they'll shake hands, and they'll literally show the entire world, like, we're 50, and like, we can train hard, we can come out, and we can do this at 50 years old. What is your excuse? Like, they're literally going to show everybody, they're like, we're doing this at 50, fam. What's your excuse for not working hard? What's your excuse for not putting in the work? We're 50, we're retired, we already put in the work. We don't have anything to prove, but we came back and put in the work for the sake of putting in the work, because we wanted to. So it's literally just going to be like, where's your excuse now? Like, but yeah, so the Fidal Rashad one ain't happening. I thought Fidal was going to win. Jake versus Nate. What did I say? Late third or the fourth, I think I said. Jake by TKO. But I'm cheering for Nate Robinson. And then Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones. I was kind of leaning towards Mike Tyson, but I'm just gonna go. I'm neutral. Like, I don't mind. I like both of them. More of a fan of Mike Tyson, but I don't know. I'll just stay neutral. But I do think Mike Tyson will win in the mid fourth, late fourth by TKO. And that's my predictions. So yeah, that's my predictions on all the fights. I didn't really go into the other undercard ones because I would have had to do so much more research for them, because I don't know who they are, and like, people may not care, because like, people only care about like the big fights and shit. But I just went with the people that I already had knowledge on, because then I could judge it off a bit more than just their sparring footage. Like, I judged Mike Tyson off how he was in his prime, Roy Jones Jr. in his prime. You know, I've judged it off Jake's previous fights. I've judged Nate off being a professional athlete, Fidal over his previous fights, Rashad over his UFC fights. All the rest of them, I couldn't judge off any background, you know what I mean? But yes, that was my predictions. Let me know what your predictions are down below, because I actually am quite interested. Let me know who you think would have won out of Fidal and Rashad, or Rashid. So, I keep fucking saying it. Rashid versus Rashad. I don't fucking know, fam. I'm terrible at names, I'm sorry. Let me know who you think would have won out of Jake Paul and Nate. Who do you think's going to win? Who you cheering for? Who you cheering for? Mike Tyson, Roy Jones. Who you think's going to win? How you think they're going to win? Let me know down in the comments, because I actually do want to see people's opinions and who they think. I want to see people's predictions before the fight, just to see who's the most accurate. But just, as always, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, smash the like button. As always, I'm going to tell you, go over and follow my TikTok. I'm pretty sure we're on like 180 followers now. I want to get 250 by the end of the year. If we can get 250 by Christmas, I don't know, actually I don't know if I want to make it back, because I don't know if I can get a hold of it. We can do 250 by Christmas. I will do something that y'all want me to do, like a dare or like a bet or some shit. I'll do that. But yeah, go over, follow my TikTok. Like I said, it was on the screen. Comment down below if you haven't yet already, and let me know what your fight predictions are, who you want to win. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button if you haven't already. I really do appreciate it. Check out my gamer channel. If you have any questions for the podcast, any topics for the podcast, any ideas for videos, anything like that, comment them down below. If you don't want to do it publicly, go to my Yolo link, always linked down in the description. You can do it anonymously if you do not want to comment publicly. But yes, as always, I've been Undisputed, I hope y'all are thinking positive and testing negative, because we are in COVID times, and being positive ain't always good. So think positive, test negative. I've been Undisputed, and I'll see you in the next one. So, peace.